When I started getting ready to join the vet field, a lot what I did was clinic work. So I think the biggest thing that helped me stand out was my experience. I think by the time I finished applying, I had about 5,000 hours of veterinary experience. My GPA wasn't the most impressive thing ever. It was about average. It was just kind of right in the middle of my class average for both my GPA and my GRE score. So I definitely feel that my bountiful amount of hours was a big difference in me getting to vet school. So I came from Tampa, Florida. It was a pretty big city, so it had a lot of unfortunate traffic. A lot of stop and go. Gainesville's a nice step away from that. It's a smaller city. It's mostly centered around the college. There's a lot of people around my age. It was kind of nice to have a more enclosed community. I have a lot of fellow city members around my age group. But probably my favorite thing about living in Gainesville is just the amount of outdoors opportunities there's around here. There's a lot of hiking trails, biking trails, bird watching groups, things like that. That's always really fun to get involved with, and that's probably my biggest thing about living in Gainesville is the amount of opportunities for outdoorsy people that are in just a short distance away. I'm balancing school and social life fairly well, I think. I know a lot of classmates of mine like to live on campus. Sometimes I like to go home on an afternoon. I'll skip a club meeting if I'm not like super involved in that club, just to have an afternoon to myself. I think taking personal time is a very important part of vet school, so you're not fully immersed in this field 24/7, because I believe once we get onto clinics and graduate, that's all we'll have time to do is be involved in the field. So I'm just trying to take advantage of the time I have to myself while I can. I graduated in 2014, and I took a year off before applying to vet school. The biggest thing that I was a little worried about when I initially applied and got accepted was it was going to be difficult to readjust myself to studying and getting back into the whole school grind, especially after being out for a year and having heard a lot of horror stories of people that wanted to go on to do professional school, took time away from school, and then decided never to go back. So it was definitely a worry of mine. However, it was not as big of a concern as I thought in the end. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. However, the time I had off was great to kind of find myself as a person, truly decide if this was what I wanted to commit to for the next 4 years. Have a little bit of a mental break from just being in school 24/7, 365, have some time to work, travel, live, which is a very important thing. It was definitely a nice thought that I did, and I definitely enjoyed my year off, and it was a nice stepping stone to starting vet school. When I applied, the thing that I focused on more so than anything else was just being myself, not trying to hide behind fancy words and a personal statement or hide behind a grade point average that wasn't me. I was just myself. During my vet school interview, I literally used the word, "I'm ready to nerd out in vet school," and my interviewees laughed. Just be yourself, and that's the biggest thing that I can recommend when applying, because so many people try to hide behind a false facade, and they really want to see who you are, because a personality is a big thing, especially when you're a doctor. I chose the University of Florida to pursue my veterinary medicine career, not only for the location. I really enjoy the state of Florida. I like the outdoors opportunities in the nearby area. I just love the school spirit of being a Gator. Not many schools in high school did I ever hear about out of state, in state, that was just so prideful as University of Florida. And being a part of the Gator Nation was definitely it was something to look forward to joining UF College of Veterinary Medicine. The hardest part of the application process wasn't collecting all of the information I would need to apply, all the hours I had logged, all my grades from undergraduate and high school, and just congregating everything together on an online format. The hardest thing for me was actually coordinating with my mentors, vets I've worked with, academic advisors and things in the past in regards to getting my letters of recommendation completed. I had sent the messages out at the very beginning of the application process, like on day 3 of the application opening, and it took until the day before the application closing to get my letters of recommendation in. So it was a very stressful part of the whole application process, constantly harassing my mentors and advisors, just wondering when they're going to get my my letters of recommendation in. It was definitely the most stressful part, thinking that I would not be accepted because my letters were not in. I wish I had known how great of a support system UF's College of Veterinary Medicine had. When I initially applied, I thought it was going to be kind of same thing as undergrad, every man for himself, and it would be a kind of an odd transition into coming in. However, had I been told before coming in that the class ahead of us and the other classes were going to be so supportive in helping us integrate into the class, it would have blown me away, and I would have only applied to UF had I known that. The support staff has been amazing. All the opportunities that have been presented to us at the very beginning of the semester, throughout, has been absolutely fantastic, and I could not have wished for any better start. Whenever I got my acceptance email, I knew the day was coming. I dreaded it the entire day. After getting denied from other schools, on waiting for that email during the day, I was just waiting for the email to potentially say, "Sorry, we're not able to extend an offer to you." However, I had felt once I had finished my interview, I felt really confident, so I felt like I had a really good shot to get in. However, whenever I opened the email, read that I was accepted, I just nodded, smiled. I'm like, okay, cool, I got into vet school. My roommate came in and goes, "Hey, did you find out?" I told him, then he got me real amped up, and there was a lot of jumping, and I got into vet school. But yeah, that was mostly when I had people around me, but just in my personal time, I was like, open my email, I'm like, good, happy moment. But it got better the more and more people I told, and all the congratulations started coming. That's when I started to really realize how great of an accomplishment it was to get into vet school. Go Gators!